Now we have a search keys, ingredients and general search. Let's connect it to the recipe server and then receive the search result. So when the button is clicked, we are going to do some connection. As you remember in earlier study that time consuming long task should be done on the background, not disturbing the main UI thread. So we need to use async task class in doing so. So let's create class called recipe get task, which is a subclass of async task. In async task, you specify three parameters. The first one is input to the background thread. So what is the type? I want to pass a string, which is just the ingredients and search key. And then the background task may update the progress. What kind of data type for progress report? Let's just say int. And then when background process is done, what type of data you want to get? I want to get a string data, which is a JSON result from the server constructor there. Then async task has some members to implement. So implement the member. Okay, doing background is the one running on the background the task. So when a search button is pressed, we can have this doing background work. To do so, we just create the recipe get task and then call execute the method. There we pass the data, so ingredients and then search key are passed. Also, we can give a parameter for which page we want to get. So for testing purpose, let's have a first page only. So what I mean by that is here, as we connect to the recipe puppy server, we give a parameter I for ingredients, Q for search, and the P for page. So from which page we want to get. So using this P parameter, you can do next page or previous page control. But for this exercise, for simplicity's sake, let's always get from first page. So ingredients and search keys are, and then string 1 is passed as a prems. So prem 0, you will get ingredients of prem 1, search key. Prem 2, string 1 will be there. So in this async task, we have a few other method there. So before the background process begins, we can do something. Override on pre-execute is the one running before background task works. So let's toast a message there. So first one is context. We used to use this referring to the context, activities context, but here this is referring to inner class and not the activity, so this is not correct context. But in any activity there is another variable called application, which is a context, which is actually a higher level of a context over activities application. So you can use application for that. And then let's give a message loading, and then toast short show there. So that's what we are going to display before we connect to the server. Now doing background, we are going to connect to the server. So base URL to connect to the server, http www recipepuppy.com/API is how to ask a search from the server. As you recall, /API is needed, and then we need to give a parameter I value, parameter Q value, and so on. Those are done by calling some method available from URI parse mechanism. So let's first construct URI for the search purpose to activate the search purpose. From URI class, we can call URI parse method. There we give a base URL, then build upon by adding append the query. So first the query is I for ingredients. Ingredient is in parem 0, and then append the query. General search key is parem 1. Params 1, so this is the one. So those are passed to this params, and then another query parameter is p for page. Params 2, we get there one. Then finally build it. URI objects is builder. That one represent the host name connection for that. Then out of that, now we can get HTTP protocol connection object. So that one we use a URL class. There URI give a string representation of a URI, import URL. Then we can simply call open connection. So what I get is now finally I get an object which represents the connection to the server via network. So using this connection, HTTP connection object, we can receive the data. So to receive data, first we will get as a binary stream. So buffered input stream, there using HTTP connection, call get input stream. So now is this object represents a stream of data from the server, and then we want to convert it to a text string finally to get the JSON text string representation. So to do so, let's have a reader object which is a buffered reader, and then pass input stream reader, then pass b stream there. So finally we have object which represent the text data coming from the server. So at this moment let's have data as a string builder object so that we can modify the data as a read data from the server. So while have an infinite loop, and then read one line of text data from server. The if line is null, so we have finished the reading, break the loop. Otherwise let's append line by line onto the data. Then finally we can return data in string type. So back around the process is done, string data is returned. That string data you can receive it on main UI thread in a function named on post executor. So on post executor method will be called as background process returns, and then this data is on result variable. So at this moment for testing purpose, let's display it on logcat there. So log import, and let's define a tag, const val tag is let's give a tag as many A's there. So let's test the program so far. Logcat, no filter. Let's see all the messages. there. So cheese, tomato, and general soup. App crashes. Let's see why it crashed. On purpose I didn't do one critical things to generate this error or crash. As you scroll it up, sometime in red part you will see exception thrown. Here we get that, and then the exception says permission denied, missing internet permission. It's a security exception. What it means is that as an Android app uses resources in the device, the specific permission should be requested. The purpose is that if a malware or spyware comes in and to have access to one of the important resources such as contacts or camera or and the like, then those are not given as a permission list, so that will be denied by security exception. So for security protection purpose, app requires some permission to use a resource. Internet is one of the resources for that. So where do we specify such permission is under Android manifest file. So in the web, if you search for Android internet permission, first hit explains that. So to request for internet permission, we should do this line. So let me copy this line. Then outside the application tag, so let's put somewhere here, and then give the permission. So that one is required. Internet permission is one of the primary thing in any device will do. So you can simply specify within Android manifest file. But other resources, you need to request the permission when program runs on real time, like to use a phone or to use a contact or to use a camera. Those ones are specifying in Android manifest file is not sufficient in the current version of Android. I think it's an API 23 or higher. You have to ask a real-time permission for that. So anyway, since we added the permission, let's run the program, then see how it works. So let me clear the logcat. Ingredients, cheese, tomato, try soup again, run. Then app did not crash, so we expect some result in logcat. To do so, let's filter the ones it has a something like that. Let's filter that it has something ... As I click, this is the contents. So here it's a long string. So this JSON one, which is actually the same data we would get from recipe puppy. As I click with cheese, tomato, and then soup. So this is the JSON data as a search result. So next step is in post execute, since we have a result as a JSON string, we need to parse and then display on the device.